There are a bunch of Pokemon out there who evolve, but some evolve more than others. While some Pokemon evolve twice, some only evolve once. And one of the things I have liked doing in recent videos is imagining what it could be like if Pokemon who evolve once got a new evolution in a future generation and evolved twice instead. These have been some of my favorite videos to do recently, and we are here to do it again with 3 more Pokemon today. The artwork of all of the designs in this video was drawn by my good friend Oscar Belmonte, so be sure to check him out with the link in the description since he does amazing work, and with that said, let's check it out. Okay, so the first Pokemon I wanted to highlight today are none other than Primaseer and Primaseer. For some reason, everyone hates Primaseer, and I don't really know why. In my opinion, the only elemental monkey that's actually bad is Simipour, and I have never once had any real issue with Primaseer. But it has been almost universally despised by the fanbase regardless ever since its introduction. So what if it evolved again with the attempt to redeem itself a little bit and shake off some of that criticism? What might that look like? Well, maybe something like this. Meet Primaseer, Primaseer's second chance at actually being not completely hated. With the elemental monkeys, it actually makes a lot of sense for them to receive a second evolution, since they're sort of meant to mimic starter Pokemon, not only with their typings, but also with their hidden abilities, which are the same as the starter's regular abilities. In that respect, the elemental monkeys were already getting the short end of the stick a little bit, and so for them to truly get a fair shake at being decent Pokemon, I feel like they deserve to have their starter mimicry concept seen all the way through and be able to have that second evolution as well. And Primaseer is our best attempt to make that happen. There isn't anything too crazy going on here because it simply just continues all the motifs and inspirations of its pre-evolutions, just with the explicit goal of trying to make it look cooler to try and counteract what people didn't like about Primaseer. Like I said, I'm not exactly a Primaseer hater, so these elements might be harder for me to see than others, but overall I think Primaseer does a pretty good job of being the cool Primaseer, more or less. It is also a pure fire type, just like its pre-evolutions, since I felt that adding another type onto this Pokemon, while it could be cool, could have messed with the whole elemental concept that these Pokemon are going for. But even despite being a monotyped Pokemon, I think it turned out looking pretty cool. Its name, meanwhile, comes from its pre-evolution's names, retaining the seer suffix, and it also comes from the word primate, since it's a monkey, and also the word prime as in the prime of life, because it's the final evolution of this line. You guys are gonna have to be the ultimate judge of this though. Is this design something that would make you feel any better about the Primaseer family, or the elemental monkeys as a whole? Would you put this on your team? Be sure to let me know in the comments below as we move on to our next Pokemon. This next one is a bit of a different pick for this kind of video, and it's also another fire type. Salamander is one of the coolest Pokemon that we got from Generation 7, and while it did receive an evolution, it was a female-only evolution in the form of Salazzle that really emphasized its feminine elements. I am not really a fan of Salazzle personally, not for what it does necessarily, but because in my opinion it removes too much of what made Salamander so cool, which is why I think the possibility of a male Salamander evolution that retains more of these elements would be really cool to have, and I think it's something that other people would definitely like to see as well. And while it might not be a second evolution in the traditional sense, it's a cool enough of an idea that I thought it was worth exploring. So with that said, this is Salamander. Now, the first thing I want to address is the name, because the name does sound pretty goofy, but it actually fits quite well. I wanted to keep the same Salamander prefix that Salandit and Salazzle have in their names, but since it's keeping more of Salandit's design, I also wanted the name to keep a similar motif to Salandit's name more specifically, which is why I added the word robber to the name, just like Salandit has the word bandit in its name. In turn, this makes the name sound like the word slobber, but it actually works because not only does this Pokemon already have a flame coming out of its mouth, which could definitely be a kind of flame slobber, but its body also has a very lava-like pattern and color to it, which could also work great as a sort of slobber for this Pokemon, especially since these Pokemon are from the volcanic Alola region. Salamander could attack its opponents by using its lava-like saliva to burn and possibly even poison them as well, since it would be a poison fire type just like Salandit. Otherwise, this design is pretty straightforward. It purposely has a slender body in order to give off some creepy robber vibes, but in general, it's just a cool, more grown-up version of Salandit, which I think would be great to have alongside Salazzle, so this is one that I would definitely love to see happen for real, even if that's not very likely. Third on our list of Pokemon to give new evolutions to is going to be none other than Poochyena and Mightyena. I have always thought that these Pokemon were pretty cool and therefore would be cool to give an evolution to, but now that their counterpart, Zigzagoon and Linoon, have received a second evolution themselves in the form of Obstagoon, I think it's only fair that Poochyena get a second evolution as well in order to level the playing field, and that is where Tariana comes into play. Unlike the previous two evolutions we've done, Tariana gains a new type once it evolves from Mightyena and becomes a dark ground type. This is because of what it's based on. While the other two evolutions we have covered so far simply filled a perceived need of their evolutions, this evolution required a legitimate inspiration of its own, which is why it is based on the Aardwolf and the giant-faced hyena. The Aardwolf, despite its name, isn't actually a real wolf, but instead is a species of hyena, whose name means Earth Wolf in various languages like Afrikaans and Dutch, hence the ground type. Meanwhile, Tariana is also based, like I said, on the giant short-faced hyena, who is an extinct species which further helps to promote that ground type because of fossils and such, but even more significantly, the giant short-faced hyena comes into play here because it is the largest hyena known to ever exist, which makes it a fitting inspiration for the third strongest and most definitive stage of the Poochyena line. Its name, Tariana, also comes from multiple different sources as well. Primarily, it comes from Terra, referring to Earth because of its ground type, but also tear, as in to tear apart something, because it's a hyena. And then, finally, it also comes from Terror because of its dark typing, as well as, of course, hyena, just like its pre-evolutions. If this thing actually existed, it would be a definite team member for me for sure. But what about you? Did you enjoy any of these hypothetical evolutions? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already for more. I'll see you guys very soon with another one, and until then, as always, thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.